woodcut printing with some oil inks, and this is Shina plywood, and we are working on a print that involves many layers, and we'll be printing this little area here today. So if you stick around, we'll show you that process. Let me just pull up the stream here today so I can see the comments. Here we go. Ready to go. A few minutes late. About 3 minutes late, but that's okay. Hopefully everyone can hear me. So this is the print we're working on today. Just filling in this little ground area, which is on the top of this little section of cliff. And for that, we're using a Baron and a little sheet, little cover sheet. So we'll get those ready. This is a ball bearing Baron that we'll be using today. Morning, Pam. So let's get started. I have a little gradation here. It's some burnt umber and yellow ochre. And I added a little bit of blue to darken the one side. So I wanted to have, I'm realizing I did it backwards, I think. So I want the darker spot, no, I'm good. So darker spot towards the top. This is the first time we're making this impression on this little section of wood that I carved. I just did this carving this morning. So because this is the first impression, we just want to make sure that we get enough ink on the block. The wood tends to kind of soak in the ink a little bit, especially on the first impression. So we'll just make sure we put enough on. Back on vertical. I figured for this print it would make sense because when I show you the print like this, it fits the screen well, almost perfect. Also, I feel like YouTube is pushing the vertical format, so I'm just going to do it once in a while, switch it up every now and then. But I was waiting for the AI tool to make the shorts, the highlighted shorts, but they didn't do a really good job. So I might have to download these live streams myself and just edit them into a short myself. So we have a little bit of, so I'm just going to make sure I press just on this area. I'm not going to press too much over here on the edges. So let's take the first impression here and see how it looks. So we put the paper into our corner Kento. Let's see how this lines up. These Kento aren't cut very well. They're a little sloppy. I'm actually using a traditional Baron for right now. See how that does first. Sometimes you can see the ink coming through the paper already. And I can see I missed a couple areas, but I believe that will be covered up. Hopefully that will be covered up with black ink. There we have a nice little warm orange gradation. Yeah, I think maybe I was supposed to keep these areas. Let's see, let's get our key block. Okay. So this area here is covered up by a gray, which will be the darker gray on top of this. This little section up here that's missing, this little section here, the tiny spot, will be covered up in black and green, so I'm not too worried about it. There's also some green in there. Then up here, this is covered with green and black, so I think I'm okay. There may be a little bit of the paper showing through, but I'm not going to be too picky on this print. This is kind of a loose, fun print, and I'm trying to just have fun with the colors and kind of nice, flat, bold colors. So far, so good, I think. And this ground plane, it's warm. It's mostly pine straw and dirt and rocks, and it's the top of a cliff. It's very rugged, and it's in shadow because the trees. It's the ground plane that's underneath these pine trees, so there's not too much light on it. That's why it's a little bit darker in value. There'll be another dark color going over this, a darker gray going over this rock feature, and then there'll be a black that's going over it altogether. So far, I'm liking the bold primary kind of colors, the blue, the purple, the orange, the gray. It's looking healthy. So let's just keep on going. So it was another beautiful day in New York City. The sun is out again. I have some cardboard blocking the light today, so we don't get the glare like we did yesterday. And this traditional Baron seems to be working great, so I'm going to use that for today. This is a nice, soft, thin paper. It's called Kitakata, and it has some wood pulp in it, but I like the tone of it. It's like a nice, natural color. To protect the back of the paper with this cover sheet. This is a simple little impression today. Now notice I'm going over this tree limb. I printed this tree limb first, and you can see the transparency of the ink that I'm using today. I didn't put any transparent base in there, but some colors have more transparency than others. So these earth tones, ochre and yellow ochre and burnt umber, pretty transparent. So you can still see that tree limb through the pigment. So I should have done the trees second, but it's okay. It's adding some nice, interesting depth. You can see right through the back of that paper. And I got this paper, a shout out to Talus. You want to check out their website, TALAS. It's in New York City. So a simple little impression for today. Again, we're using the Shina plywood for this. It's a plywood that works well for Mokahanga. Doesn't hold detail too well, but it's great for printing flat colors. And it works really well with this oil ink, this oil relief printing ink. I'm getting some frames delivered today. I just heard a truck. I'm expecting FedEx to deliver 3 frames for some prints. I have to frame those up today or tomorrow. Next will be some nice bold colors. They really stand out well on this beige paper, or this tan paper, or this cream colored paper. Yesterday we finished up our other print. It's still drying here in the rack. I'm actually going to the Gunks tomorrow to rock climb, even though I have a million things I need to do in preparation for this exhibition. I think it's important for me to get out and get some exercise, get some fresh air, enjoy this fall weather, because it's gonna only last for a very short amount of time. So I'll be hanging off the cliff, maybe at this exact point tomorrow. I'll be sure to take some photos and document some stuff that I'm doing tomorrow. I think I'm going to be going to an interesting part of the cliff that's called, it's a huge ledge. It's called the high exposure. And there's a huge ledge, and it makes for some really nice photographs. So I'm going to try to make sure I bring my camera up when I go to the top of the cliff. Take some nice pictures tomorrow. I will be having my phone in my pocket at all times, because the fall colors up there right now are very, very nice. I think they're at peak. Stuart. Take Pam's print and take it off the, yeah, I could do that. I could take her print. So you get a little bit of a thin application of ink on this one, so a little of the paper showing through. So I need to put more ink on the roller. But let me pull over my, so there's still a lot going on in this area. So this is the test print here. So where these little rocks are, there's a lot of grays and greens, so I'm not too worried about it. But I need to put a little bit more ink on the roller. So I don't mind if the paper is showing through in certain areas. I think it adds some nice atmosphere to the print. We can call those happy accidents. So definitely a lot more ink on the roller now. So I'm holding the paper down with my finger so it doesn't move around as I'm getting the baren ready. And once you press down, it holds the paper in place. The ink will hold the paper in place. But I'm still holding here with my fingers. Okay, have a look. This image right now is reminding me of, I'm trying to think of an artist that's kind of bold, like Georgia O'Keeffe or something. It's like really bold graphic shapes. Maybe I'm just not pressing hard enough with the baren, so I have no issues with that paper coming through there. No idea how this one's going to turn out. The next impression will be this mass, this area, which is green in this. This is just a test print that I did. But it'll be a gradation from like a warm green, slowly getting cooler and more distant. And it'll be over this purple color. So I'll have like a darker, warmer green to like a mid-tone green, more yellow, and then it'll slowly transition back up top here, especially to like a blue-green to create distance. So from the base here to the distance, the horizon, I'd say that's like maybe a distance of like 10 miles or so. So I want to really try to get that distance in there with just a gradation of color. So far this print has been really fun to work with. I think I'm done with all the carving. I have the other colors right on the other side of this block. So I'm using both sides of the block here. This will be used for the ground plane. And I have an idea that I want to print this one again as a night scene. So if this one turns out well, not right now, but maybe in the future, I could try this one as a night scene. And I'll cut another block for the, or maybe I'll just cut out of the sky a little moon shape and let the warmth of this paper show through. As the moon. I think that would be pretty cool. see. Got some garbage on the block here. So, pretty simple today. This will be a short stream. Community moderation, blocked words. So I gotta figure out how I can moderate some things here. I'll research that. Figure out how I can moderate comments. It's all a learning process. Appreciate everyone who's watching and who's participating and following along. I'm going to the Met. Yes, it does go a lot faster without the press. Plus this is just a small area, so it's easy to roll out, easy to print. I'm going back to the Met on Friday. They called me back for the fourth stage of so there was 3 stages for this interview process. The first one was a written exam. I had to go there and take a test. And the second one was an in-person practical examination. I had to go there and actually handle some artwork and follow directions. And now this last stage is the in-person interview. So we'll see how that goes. But man, it would be amazing to work there, handling all European paintings. Be a lot of responsibility. I handled artwork for like 10 or 12 years before I stopped doing it to focus more on printmaking. I had a lot of galleries that I worked with, and did a lot of fairs, art fairs in the city. And I worked with a couple international galleries that would come to New York for art fairs and do a lot of private hangings at people's homes and apartments. But it was all freelance work. I just did it on my own. But I made the decision to stop doing it so that I could find more time to do more printmaking. And that was about 3 years ago. I quit that. But now I'm looking for something that's a little more steady. Something that's a little more full-time. So I'm getting older. And I need to start thinking about like future, I guess. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you, Pam. Send out some positive energy into the universe for me. Need some more of this ink down on this side of the roller. Just push it down there. Hey, thanks for your comment, Carol. Where are you from? CCI. Cool. I haven't took an impression with the Baron only in a while, so this feels strange to me. Kind of miss it. So I plan to do an impression on this print one a day until this thing's finished. Should be, I got them all ready to go. This is the next one, and then I have the trees here, which I'll be doing a gradation in this top portion of trees, and then it'll be separate than the colors than this one. So I might do those in two different impressions. So this will be more of a cool green, darker green, and this one up here will be a little bit more warm, and towards the top of these trees there'll be a little bit of light on it, so there'll be a nice couple gradations in there. Then this is the block for the gray. There's just kind of a gray mass that goes over the rock feature, and there's a couple gray areas in the tree limbs, and that will be a very transparent gray. And that'll be about it. And then the key block. So it's gonna go pretty, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more impressions to finish this one. So Friday I could do a live stream after my interview. I could get back here, maybe have just enough time to do a live stream, but who knows. I rotate this disc in here every once in a while. So it's slowly coming together. We have one more sheet here, and then I'll be saying goodbye for today. This is a short little stream. Just wanted to keep you guys updated on what's going on. Do I do any hatching? Did you do any hatching on my key block? Yeah, there is a lot of hatching from the sketch. So you can see the key block here. So there's a lot of hatching from the original sketch. So there's a lot of line work that's in there. I kept some of it. And then there was like some stippling, which is just like dots I've made with like a pencil or the mark. It was a marker sketch. And then yeah, in the trees here, there's just a series of lines. So it's all just hatching really. This whole sketch was just hatching. So we'll see how it turns out. So this was just a quick test print. I have a couple others here too I could show you. Let me see. Oh yeah. So here's just a test sheet for the key block. You can see the hatching. This is just the key block I used to transfer. The transfer sheet was here for this piece. So you can see how much texture is in there. And then this is another test print. And you can see the massive gray here. I might change some of these little shapes in here. I'm not too excited about some of these shapes, but we'll see how it goes. right, last sheet for the day. So when I'm done with my color, I have strips of, I have a lot of scrap washi or Japanese paper here. You can see. I'll just cut it into some pieces. Just get a piece of scrap paper. And to use up some of this ink that's on my palette, I just roll it out onto some nice washi and I let that dry. I'll even put some, flip it. I'll do some right next to it. And that's okay if it's not perfect. And I let those dry. I have a whole collection of these. And I cut these pieces up and turn them into collages. To get some really beautiful textures with these. Sometimes I'll even thin out the ink so there's not too much on. You can get some ghost, some different ranges of color. So these are just like little swatches. I use up some of the ink so I don't waste it. Some nice colors. I have some here from the other day. This was the green I used the other day. They're just like really bold colors on a really nice paper. And I just have I have a folder and I've been keeping these. So I have like thousands of these little strips. So one day I'll make a big project with them. Pam wants to use this one. I still haven't photocopied it, Pam. But I have it sitting here. I look at it every day. This is an example of one that I made. A lot of this is Mokuhanga, so it's a water-based pigment. All of it's Mokuhanga actually. It's water-based pigment, but I cut all these little shapes up. And it doesn't look too complex, Pam, but man, there's a lot of little shapes in there. So you're gonna have your work cut out for you. But I know you can handle. I think it's more horizontal like this. But I take old prints sometimes that are messed up or don't look well or have accidents on them, and I'll use them as scrap sheets too. So you can see all these little holes. They're from snow prints that I've made in the past. Alright guys, I'm going to head out now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow. No, you won't see me tomorrow because I'm going rock climbing. Maybe see you Friday. If not, have a good weekend. Have a good rest of your week. We'll see you next time.